Well, happy afternoon, everyone. It's wonderful to be here. And I'll introduce myself and then I'll ask you to introduce yourselves. I'm Lorena Valencia, and I'm the very proud administrative coordinator with School Mental Health. Go Region South. And we can start here.
Hi, my name is Valerie Martinez, and I'm a junior at HTPA.
Hi, my name is Jorge Valencia, and I'm a junior at Carson High AE.
Hello, my name is Amanda Garcia Copto, and I'm also a junior at the HTPA.
Hello, my name is Christopher Taylor, and I am a junior at Middle College High School.
Superstars, it is great to be among all of you. It's a great treat to be here. Thank you for the invitation. I want to say we just ended April is Stress Awareness Month. And we are entering into May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So I like that those kind of are next to each other because we're aware of our stress. We are aware of the importance of our mental health. So in LAUSD, we have this thing called Mental Health Is campaigns. So mental health is everything. So for the month of May, let's think about it this way. Mental health is everything. So as you think about mental health, you might have some questions, but I want to ask you some questions too. What do you do that helps you with your mental health and your mental well-being? You want to start?
I think for me, one of the main things that really helps me with my mental health is talking with my friends. I feel like a lot of my friends, we share sort of similar experiences and sort of things that are affecting our mental health, whether it be school or our personal lives. And I think that that's something that's really important to me, is to know that other people had the same struggles.
Thank you.
I would say for me, it would be listening to music or talking with one of the office workers, because they help me go through a lot of things. They have good advice for me all the time. And for other people, it would be I help them with their stressed out things. Yeah.
Very true, yes.
Okay. To support my mental health, I love to eat.
Yeah.
Eating just makes me so much more happier. I also love to sleep. Whenever I feel super sad or super stressed, I just sleep it off. And that just helps me get some clarity afterwards. And my mom and my family, I have a huge great support team behind me, so they're really helpful. I talk to my mom about everything, and she helps me get through it, and she helps me be rational about my scenes, I guess.
I feel that. My best stress relievers or ways to kind of help mental health for me are going to the gym and making music. Going to the gym is on the more physical side. Maybe you want a distraction from what you're doing, so you go lift weights, run, stuff like that. And when I'm feeling more interpersonal and I want to really work on myself and combat whatever it is that I'm facing, I tend to write about it. And because I'm a musician, most of the time it just happens to rhyme.
Hey, I like that. So if you're seeing some themes here, is really physical, whether it's movement. You've talked about connection with friends, family. You talked about with friends also in family. So it's really about finding a resource that you have and that you might be able to tap into. Because can I tell you something? The adults, we all get stressed out too. So it's managing our stress but understanding that it's okay not to be okay, that sometimes things are difficult. So as you shared about the things that help you, what are some of the resources you've seen or about already exist at your school, in your community? Can you think of something already that exists that maybe a friend has tapped into, or maybe someone listening to us might know a little bit more about, and then I'll share some as well. Do you want to share?
In my Health 11 college class, because Middle College High School is partnered with Southwest Community College, we've talked about mental health a lot and some of the different tools that we have access to. As Amanda brought up the suicide helpline, but there are also helplines for other mental health issues that may fly under the radar. For instance, things like addiction, or even if it's not suicide, there are self-harm lines. One that comes to mind specifically for teens is called Teen Line. An old friend of mine actually is a volunteer there, where it's for teens by teens, because sometimes you may feel that whatever you're experiencing is something that maybe an adult or a trusted adult around you wouldn't quite understand. And that's what Teen Line's for. It's like a space or platform where you can communicate with other teens that have been trained to handle certain situations, but it's, I guess, a bit more intimate than talking to like an adult.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point that sometimes for us it's easier to talk to our peers than maybe an adult, or even sometimes, because May is Mental Health Awareness Month, it's about reducing the stigma. That sometimes people don't want to say something's wrong, right? Or I don't want to share, but it's really about reminding ourselves and our community that it's okay not to be okay, right? That there is help. You're right. The Teen Line is a resource for us. There's resources at schools. How many of you have been able to learn about resources, mental health resources at your schools that might exist?
I think there's a lot of resources like available in a lot of schools, like the psychiatric social workers. A lot of those are available in schools, and counselors too. Counselors play a big role in like talking with students one-on-one, and then teachers too. I feel like teachers are really like sort of like an underrated resource because they're there to help you, and they're sort of the ones that really get to see you and know you in person and understand what's going on.
And they're the first ones, right?
Yeah.
Because they can tell, like, hey, Valerie, you're not yourself. Or asking, hey, the first people that notice. Yeah, so, and your psychiatric social workers are partners, right? And PSA counselors and your counselors in general are resources. Yes. Any resources that you've noticed at your school?
I would say the same thing, but I would add on like some coaches really pay attention to your mental health or how you're doing, like playing wise. So that would be also one. I would also say some of the office workers, if you're there every day, they'll pay attention and they'll see that you're not like all together. They'll ask how you've been or what's going on. And that's really it.
So what I appreciate you saying that, because all adults, I tell you, all of us that went into education, the number one thing we said yes to is yes to supporting students, yes to guiding them. And so often we may not all have that title, but really we enter the education field to support. Why? Because somebody supported us, right? Which all of you are doing the same. In the same way, there are students that will come to you, Amanda, Christopher, they'll come to you before they talk to an adult. They'll just say, hey, I just wanted to tell you something, I'm not feeling well. We talked about some prevention things we can do, but really connecting them to the resource at your school or in the community. There's a hotline we have here in our district. I'm going to share these links, but our district has a hotline for students, for teachers, for parents, just to say, I want some resources. We talked about 988. We talked about just prevention hotlines that exist for us, because as we do this work, or as we do school, we talked about the stress of school. We know that things are going to be difficult. So as we switch our topic or add to our topic, anything else that you would say to your friends of what else they can do to support themselves, who else they can go to at the school site? Anything you want to add before we run out of time?
I would say really try to understand yourself and take a moment or two, even if it's like in the middle of the night and like right before you go to bed, take a second and reflect and think about what's going on in your life and how that's affecting you. Even if you don't really think it's affecting you, like there's certain things that you realize that are taking a little bit more of a toll on you than you would think, and there's things that are sort of affecting you in ways that you hadn't thought of before. So just sort of reflect on that.
Wonderful. Reflection is deep. Thank you, Valerie.
I would say in terms of stress management, like you can take out a lot of things that make your day very stressful, like sports. If like it's not for you, it doesn't have to be. Or school wise, you can help by like talking to a counselor.
That's great. Knowing your limits and knowing when maybe I need to take something off my plate that might be too difficult. Thank you.
I think communication with anybody is key. I think we need to I think, Valerie, you mentioned it. If we see somebody else feels the same way, we sort of feel better about it because we're thinking like, oh, we're not the only ones going through it. So I would just advise people to not be afraid to reach out, to not be like afraid to communicate with others, and to tell like your story, basically. Yeah.
Thank you.
I think that was a great point. Even I know some people are more social or some are less social than others. I think that even if it's just one or two close friends that you trust and that you hold dear, that communication can really be one of the driving forces that keeps you feeling like, well, humans are social creatures. We're meant to talk and have fun with others and things of that nature. And I think that when you're stressed, you may deprive yourself of that on accident. And that could further lead to that kind of decline when it comes to mental health. So if you haven't in a while, just, make sure you're talking to the people around you, making sure that, like, you're communicating, checking on others as well, because everyone's human, everyone goes through stuff, everyone, mental health can be up, mental health can be down, everyone kind of experiences that kind of stuff. And I think talking about it makes it a lot easier to bear.
So, what kind of pressures do each of you face in school or just through society that might impact your mental health?
I think for me, one of like my biggest pressures is that pressure to succeed and want to be successful. I know it's really common, especially in like rising seniors and juniors and high school students in general. Like there's this pressure to want to be successful in the future, and it's like a really motivating factor. And I think that that's something that really puts a pressure on you as an individual to figure out what you want to do in life. And you're only so young, like you're a student, you're a minor, you're under 18, and you're expected to have your life planned out. And I feel like that's something that's really influential in how you are as a person and how you develop.
For me, it would be more of expectations from my coaches to do better, from my parents to exceed, like graduate with higher remarks and be better in general as a person. It would be hard for people like me to like have everything together by 18 or going to college. So that's also one.
I don't know how you guys might take it, but I'm pretty sure like every teenager can relate to this, but societal expectations, like beauty standards, that's something I struggle with extremely. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm gonna cry. But I just think it's very important to, like, I even did my research project on this, and how the word pretty and the topic of beauty exists as a pressure for teenage girls, and it limits us to only our physical appearance, and how we have to go like way more beyond that. Wait, I'm so sorry. I just think mental health is such a vulnerable topic, and we as society need to like talk about it more and be more vulnerable about it too.
I feel that heavy, and that's powerful, like beyond like any words. I think one of the biggest pressures that I have personally, that I think kind of goes unnoticed a lot, that many other people share, is that self-imposed pressure to be great. Because the truth is, everyone's different, and you can have people that you look up to or aspire to be like, but to be honest, there's no blueprint to being who you are. And because of that, when you're, navigating life as an adolescent and trying to find yourself, you're gonna mess up along the way. You're gonna think that you line up with this path and ultimately find out that you're going down a completely different path later on. And even though there are people in our schools like counselors or teachers, even at home, parents that can kind of guide you along that path, at the end of the day, you have to be the one to kind of make the decisions that move your life forward. And that's a lot of pressure that kind of goes unnoticed to a certain degree, because it's pressure that everybody, and I mean everybody, has to face. And I think that along with what Amanda said with the beauty standard, when certain pressures are so like normalized, they get swept under the rug a lot, which is why I think it's just like really important to talk about these kinds of things.
Adding on to what Chris said, my research project mainly encapsulated that, how teenage girls have to face like societal expectations physically, but they also have to meet academic expectations as well. And it's just so pressuring because we have that academic pressure. We have the social pressure to be nice to our peers, to look like at least better to society and how we present ourselves, to be like a perfect student, and even though we're minors. And I think it's just really important to like communicate that like we all have our different stories and we all feel a certain way, yet there's something that we can always find in one another that we can relate to, and that's how like the beauty of being diverse works.
Yeah, thank you. So mental health is everything. We are not alone. There's support for all of us to tap into, and thank you for the conversation. I think that once we realize how similar we are, we all struggle, that there is help and that we don't have to go at it alone. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.